indeed. All right. Zoom and boom, everyone. We are live at 4 o'clock on a Wednesday. Hard to believe. Yes, unexpected. Not the stream you're probably expecting today, but something a little off the cuff and a little different. I know it says football because we are going to talk football,
yes,
fantasy-wise. Matt Banshee Kuhn is in the house. He called me last night. Yes, the alligators chomp. Yes. He called me up last night and decided to have an idea for an off-the-cuff stream to kind of, since we're in the midway point of the fantasy football season, to share our thoughts on how our team is faring so far, the league in general, the fiery fantasy fanatics. It rolls off the tongue. Triple F, yeah, the FFF, if you will. Yeah, so our team, how the league's done so far this season, week by week, how it's done over the course of the year, and looking forward, the rest of the way. Fitting that my sign says "look forward, not back." It's more relevant, but it can apply here as well. I know I'm dressed in Pacer stuff. That's only because of the Pacer season opening.
And I'm wearing volleyball.
Well, it's green though. At least you're wearing a team color, but I guess that fits. So hey, it works. It works. We are the alligators. We are the alligators after all. So yeah, this is totally unscripted, off the cuff, which I wanted to do more content of anyway. Now, for those of you wondering about ATSD, don't worry, that's going to be next week. Episode 38 is going to be next Monday. I've just pushed it back so we can focus on the stream today. So that's what I want to do. I don't want to burn myself out, as I've said multiple times on here.
No burnouts.
No.
We don't want to see him on fire.
No NASCAR. No, yeehaw.
He's in the wall.
I won. No, we don't want to do that. So let's some where we're at so far. We're in a really good position this season. We have been doing a decent job. Surprisingly, even though we're 4-3, like we're in a really good spot. Yeah. We are just a game out of the wild card, but we are a high scoring team. We've put up I think 600 plus points. Actually 723. We are the second highest scoring team in the league behind Psycho 7X, who's tops in our division at 750. So really we're not too far off. So they've been killing it at 6-1. I mean, because their team is loaded. Of course, they've got a lot of Patriots. Who win the Patriots, of course, being undefeated. Brady, Sony Michel. They just picked up Josh Gordon. I don't know why, because Gordon is hurt and he's kind of getting lost in the shuffle in that Patriots offense anyway. I don't understand that. And they picked up Burkhead. So they're gonna, and the Patriots defense. And I will admit the Patriots defense has been absolutely crushing it. So they're banking on the strength of New England. But what worries me in that regard is, say New England has locked up everything by the time the playoffs come around and they sit their starters
during playoff time.
Yeah, that might be a bugaboo. That does that. You have to be careful on that, because that can set you up for a downfall. These other guys are, Mike Williams of the Chargers, but he's been hit or miss. Goodwin from San Francisco. Thielen, he just now got hurt with the hamstring, but he probably won't miss too long. But he's been killing it from Minnesota lately. He's got the Panthers kicker Sly, who we missed out on in the waiver order. He got him, but I got Lambeau from Jacksonville, who's perfect on the year. So he's like double figure points, a lot. So I even got a good option there. He's got Christian McCaffrey as well, and for some reason he's on his bench.
Why?
I think he'll move back up to starter because last week was his bye week. That's probably why. So I think we should probably move back to start. Get Cohen out of there and put McCaffrey back there, because McCaffrey is playing at an MVP level. He's been killing it. So Psychos is a really good team. We know we're going to have to potentially, chase him down if we want to have a sniff of winning the division. We're going to have to chase him down. But I think, division-wise, I'm not too worried about teams below us. The Stanimals, they've they've been up and down this year. They're 3-4. They do have some really good players. Jared Goff, when Jared Goff is good,
he's good.
He's very good. When the Rams offense is firing, he is very good. Marlon Mack is no longer a bust. So he's been doing very well for the Colts. So he's no longer an issue. He's got Fitzgerald, who always puts up points in Arizona. Kenny Stills now in Houston is a good acquisition. He's got a couple good Buccaneers like Chris Godwin, who's been doing well. Cameron Brate. He's got the Saints kicker, and he still has the Bucs defense. So, again, this guy has a lot of Tampa Bay players on his roster. When Tampa Bay looks good, they're okay. When they're bad, they're bad. Jameis Winston, he's one of two extremes. Either really good and throws like 4 touchdowns,
or really bad.
Or throws 5 picks. Yeah, he's just really
inconsistent.
bad. And yeah, very inconsistent. So you never know what you're going to get. But usually from his good players, you know what to expect. We have Mike Evans, and we picked him up because Cowboys 19, the idiot that he was, dropped him after struggling the first few weeks, and then he went off for us, and he has ever since. So it's just a matter of what you're going to get. His bench is decent as well. He's got, although Baker Mayfield has really struggled this season for the Browns, and same with, the Browns as a whole. Beckham's there, John Brown from Buffalo, David Johnson, but he's been hurt, and then Hawkinson from Detroit. So decent, not great. And then Cowboys 19, actually, do remember he started off 0-3, but he has been 3-1 since. He has bounced back mainly because Aaron Rodgers is his quarterback, and Rodgers been playing at a high level this season.
He's just picked it up 10 notches.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that were worried, and maybe myself included a bit, about his relationship was going to be with Matt LaFleur, but clearly that's not an issue now. Clearly, because he is, and even what's amazing is his receiving core was so banged up last week. Still no Devontae Adams with the turf toe. Valdez-Scantling did come back after his injury and looked real good. And Geronimo Allison was also out for a while with a concussion and still doing well. So
I guess it doesn't matter who's banged up. He'll make it.
No, it's kind of like Brady. They can make – there are a few quarterbacks that can make any receiver look outstanding.
Look elite.
Yeah. Rodgers is one. Brady is one. There might be a few others I'm missing. Breeze is another. Yeah. But, yeah.
And there's back in his day.
Would you say Deshaun Watson as well from the Texans?
He's getting there.
He's definitely getting there because, he's made Hopkins look good, Will Fuller. I mean, so he's making his core look good as well. And Luck did when he was healthy as well for the Colts before he retired. Although Brissett is not doing bad for himself either.
No, I'm impressed.
I'm impressed with Jacoby. I did not think the Colts would contend. I thought it was going to be a drop off. But I tell you what, Brissett has shown he's capable. It's amazing how these backups have been so impressive. Brissett and Bridgewater with Breeze out, and Kyle Allen in Carolina.
Yeah,
they have been so impressive. You could maybe even include Garoppolo in that because for a long time he was a backup in New England, and look what he's doing now in San Francisco.
Correct.
Absolutely crushing it. So, but yeah, he's got Rodgers. He's got Todd Gurley. Again, when Gurley is healthy, when he's good, he's very good.
When the Rams offense is looking.
When the Rams offense is firing all cylinders, he's good. Tevin Coleman, San Francisco. He's got Hopkins and Valdez-Scantling. And Mohamed Sanu, who, by the way, has got an upgrade being traded from Atlanta to New England.
Oh, geez.
So the Patriots have another weapon now, so that's massive. George Kittle, the one of the best tight ends in the league. He's got Kansas City's kicker Butker and the Vikings defense, who has been strong all year. Kyler Murray is his backup. Good grief, that's scary in and of itself. You have Rodgers and you have Kyler Murray. That's a strong 1-2 tandem, kind of what we have with Jackson and Wilson, but. That's a lethal combo. And Devonta Freeman is there. So I can understand now why he's starting to go on a tear lately because his players and they're showing up. So that's our division, the West Division. Central Division wise, again, this is pretty top heavy. All Balls. Yeah, I know that's their name, All Balls, but they're a really good team. 6-1 as well.
Yeah. I guess they're showing they have all balls.
Yeah.
All balls, no guts, no glory, kind of thing.
And I'm trying to think. I'll have to look back at the schedule and see if we beat them early in the year or not. That was either one of our close losses or we beat them, but I'll have to look and see. Because they only have one loss. But I think they're buoyed by the strength of their Vikings because lately, again, the Vikings offense has been absolutely crushing it.
What?
Phone.
I told to bring me your phone with me.
I will look this up. Because I know you have that all on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, I do, don't I? So Dalvin Cook, who's been absolutely crushing it. Stephon Diggs. I think if I have any regret is that we maybe dropped Diggs a little too early because the first 2 weeks of the season he was terrible.
Yeah.
Because the Vikings were not throwing the ball. They were not doing anything in that regard. And they were relying on the run game. And then all of a sudden, Thielen and Diggs voice their displeasure. And then they start going off. So I guess if that's any regret, letting Diggs go early was kind of a blunder. But we still got some strong receivers in their place. Why did I want to say we played all balls in week? Oh, tough loss. That was one of our tough losses. Yeah, to 2-2. That's right. That's week we lost by 8 points. Yep, that's right. We hung around with them, but we didn't quite get the win. So yeah, they're definitely buoyed by Cook and Diggs and the Bears defense, which is definitely one of the more elite units in the league. Their quarterbacks are Josh Allen and Phillip Rivers. Again, good, not great options there. And they have Brissett. This guy has 3 quarterbacks. Wow. That he's definitely relying then on the strength of his backs and receivers, because to have 3 quarterbacks on your roster, that's saying a lot. That's trade bait. Like you can probably trade off one of those guys
and get someone decent.
And honestly, between that bunch of Allen, Rivers, and Brissett, based on what I've seen from all of them, Allen, is a dual threat with his legs. He can make plays a number of different ways, and Buffalo's really good. Brissett is showing that he's, as crazy as it sounds, I would trade away Phillip Rivers if I were him. I think he's the lesser of those 3. Like, I don't see –
three-headed monster.
Yeah, I don't see why you would hold on to Rivers, because the Chargers clearly, I think, are more of a run-heavy team with Gordon, Eckler, and even though they have Hunter Henry back, the Chargers are they're 2-5 this year. They're not doing very well. So I'm surprised he has. I've hardly seen a team with 3 quarterbacks, and he's carrying 2 defenses. But
I make sense on that one.
Well, yeah, the Ravens have their bye this week, so I think once that passes, he can then drop the Ravens off, get some more depth at either at back or receiver, or ship
another
off
quarterback.
Rivers. Oh gosh, yeah, that'd be crazy.
Why?
Because
start one.
Well, because Devontae Adams, of course, is still hurt. So he's questionable, but right now he's probably going to be out. Peterson probably won't play this on Thursday night tomorrow because he's hurt. So he's really banking on the top options he has now to get him through. So he's got some solid talent, but he's definitely banking on all of that to be healthy in order to be successful. Then you look at our opponent this week with Team S4, 5-2. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They're coming in really hot. They're coming in very, very impressive. I will say this probably. Obviously the one that scares me the most is Deshaun Watson. He's averaging 27 points a game. And he's going up against Oakland this week, who is not a great defense.
Right.
So he's probably going to have a big week. So Wilson for us is going to have just as big a week against Atlanta. He's got Barkley, who is now back from the ankle injury, so he's back to his normal workload. Derrick Henry, Cooper Kupp, one of the Rams' top receivers, Hilton, the Colts' top receiver, Galladay, one of the top options in Detroit, then Hunter Henry, who's been doing very well, singing back for the Chargers, but right now he has no kicker. His kicker got cut in week 1. He has had no kicker all season long, and yet he's 5-2. that shows how strong the other positions are. You have no kicker.
You said he has Adams.
No, that was all balls.
He's not going to play this week.
He's out again. Okay, so yeah, he's going to have to bank on Shark and all his receivers to get him through. Greg Joseph got cut week 1 from Cleveland, hasn't played since, and yet this guy's 5-2 with no kicker. that clearly shows how strong of a roster he has. And this week, and he has the Cowboys defense, but they're on a bye, and he has no other defenses on his bench. He has 3 running backs on his bench and 2 wide receivers. So unless he goes to the wire and makes a move, he'll have no kicker and no defense when he faces us.
Offense, go off.
One against the second highest scoring team in the league. Yeah. So, and his bench really is not that impressive. James White, Miles Sanders, Ito Smith, who's out, Antonio Callaway, and Albert Wilson.
Never even heard of any of them.
Exactly. Like he again, this is a team that is banking on the studs, on the starters. And while that is an okay strategy, like you can't have that over the course of the whole season.
Say what if one of your starters is like Mahomes last week?
Exactly. Like and injuries have been a huge bugaboo for a lot of guys this season, especially quarterbacks. And you have to have at least some level of solid bench depth.
Yeah, at least a good, solid backup quarterback.
Yeah, and at least a couple backs and at least a couple receivers. Maybe not as much tight end, kicker, or defense because you can rotate those on a weekly basis if you wanted to, unless you have an elite option like we have with Darren Waller, but a tight end, or the Bills' defense. But you've got to have some semblance of bench depth, or else you're just going to hurt yourself down the stretch. So he may be 5-2 now.
He might be 5-3.
I don't think he's. If we beat him, I don't know if he's going to stay that way. If he doesn't get some more better bench depth. Cheeseheads, who we crushed last week. I mean,
they're like crushed.
Literally,
they
were a complete and utter disappointment. They were like.
Anyone for some string cheese head?
Yeah. Of course, he loses Mahomes, which, of course, that was huge in and of itself for us. It's kind of a catch-22 because you hate to win a game because of an injury, but that's the reality of fantasy. It sucks.
And I don't think Mahomes would have made a difference of how
bad we beat him. No, I agree.
We can rule the injury.
Exactly. Yeah. Depending on how, it was
closer.
It was closer. Yeah. But yeah. And the fact he benched Latavius Murray. He left him on the bench and Kamara was out. Why? How stupid are you? Like,
do you not watch football? Do you watch soccer?
Yeah. You have a starting running back and you leave him with a great matchup and you leave him on your bench. I mean, I don't. And then he just lost Kerryon Johnson for the year with the knee injury. So, and then we got Ty Johnson, the Lions' backup. So we snagged that off waivers from him. So we denied him that opportunity. His bench outside of that is nothing special, including injured players galore. Tyrell Williams from Oakland hasn't played in weeks. Johnson now is on IR. Dwayne Harris from New England hardly gets any playing time at all. And then Mahomes. So his bench is nothing.
Are you on autopilot? She said.
I mean, now Bridgewater now is his quarterback, and that's a fine backup to have behind Mahomes when Mahomes is out. That's a solid backup. So he's going to be fine at quarterback, but the rest of the positions.
So when Breeze comes back, there goes Bridgewater.
Yeah. I worry about. Dude, you need to get rid of David Montgomery. He has done nothing for the Bears. Like, he has been a colossal disappointment, epic failure. He had -1 last week. -1.
I'll get you somewhere.
When your player has negative points in fantasy football, it's time to say goodbye. Like, he's averaging 5 points a week. 5. That cannot stay on a viable fantasy roster.
No, bye-bye.
He is 97% owned still. How? I think it's time to cut the cord on David Montgomery. I think you need to let him go. You need to find a better back.
All right. We'll chop it off for you.
I get it. There might or start Murray. I get it. The options on the waiver wire might not be great, but for gosh sakes, you're starting a back averaging 5 points a week. That cannot be viable for your team. Now his receivers are a decent unit, although pretty much his top now is Cortland Sutton because he's now the top guy in Denver. Now that Emmanuel Sanders is traded to San Francisco, Sutton's going to get work. But Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd, those are like secondary options right now. In Atlanta, Julio Jones is the main man. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
And in Cincinnati right now is with A.J. Green, as long as he's out, Auden Tate's the main guy getting all the work. Boyd hasn't done much. Let's see. Boyd is averaging 7 a week. Ridley 8. I mean, that's decent production, but not like outstanding.
You should at least have double digits.
So he's very hit and miss there. His tight end is Ertz. He's only averaging 6 a game. I mean, Philly's offense has just been so off this year.
It's just been hard to watch.
And it's mostly because their secondary is junk. Like their secondary, Atlanta's secondary, the Giants, and Washington, I think, are probably like the worst 4 in the NFL. Like their secondaries are junk. They're terrible. Tampa Bay, maybe 2, maybe 5. There's just some really bad secondaries that give up play after play after play. And it's like every time you know what's going to happen. So Philly's just hard to watch. Prater's his kicker. He's averaging 9. That's not bad for a kicker. He's got the Saints defense. They're averaging 12. So that's decent.
That's probably his 2 best.
So, but again, he's going to have to rely on the strength of those starters because he's got 3 guys injured, and he's keeping someone on the bench who right now is a starter until Kamara comes back, which is ridiculous. Bench David Montgomery, dudes, or get him off your roster. Start with Latavius Murray if you're smart.
Refresh.
No kidding. And then NSI Russ is 2-4-1. This roster is all over the place. Like
there's no consistency.
First thing, no kicker. Steven Gostkowski on IR, so no kicker again. What is it with these teams with no kickers? Like I get it, kicker is not a great position in fantasy, but you got to have at least one.
Yeah, you got to at least get.
You would really want to take a donut every single week, at least in that spot. It's ridiculous.
I'd be happy with at least 1 point a week.
Right, at least a guaranteed 0.
Unless you own the Titans kicker.
His quarterback is Jameis Winston, as we mentioned, one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks in the NFL. When he's good, you win. When he's bad, your team sucks. His running backs, Phillip Lindsay. I mean, yeah, he's averaging 11 a week, but it's Denver, and Denver's offense has been so rough this year.
Buttery.
Very. I mean, they honestly thought that Joe Flacco at this point in his career was going to be their answer at quarterback. Really.
That'd be like putting Dan Marino back in the Dolphins.
I don't know what they were. Well, that'd be kind of rough because the Dolphins are tanking. But I mean,
it might actually help them
fill the tank. I mean, like hashtag fill the tank.
Peyton Manning coming back to Indianapolis.
Yeah, something to that regard. But it's like I didn't get what John Elway was thinking. You drafted a quarterback in the draft. You drafted Drew Lock out of Missouri to maybe be the future, but if Flacco can't pan out, you'd think at some point Lock would have to at least see what you have in him.
At least give him a few games.
Now, Josh Jacobs from Oakland, he's done very well. The rookie out of Alabama, he has done very well. He's averaging 12 a week. That's a good investment. That's a good thing. He is questionable this week, though. What does he have? What's his injury here? Foot? Oh, shoulder. Okay, so questionable with the shoulder issue. Jacobs. He's questionable with the shoulder. But he's had double-digit points in 3 out of the 6 games, nearly close to 2 other weeks. He was not spotted today at practice. He was not spotted today at practice, open to the media, so he strained his shoulder. So this is a tricky scenario there. So he may not have. Now he does have Chris Carson. So that's a viable plug and play in case Jacobs is out because Carson's been killing it for Seattle. He's got Henderson from the Rams who's done some decent things, and then Kareem Hunt once he comes off his suspension. I think this is the last week of his suspension because it was 8 games. So once he gets off his suspension, then he'll have him maybe as a lottery ticket as well. So he's got solid back depth, so that's good.
Here's the day-to-day right now.
Day-to-day, okay. I mean, we're all day-to-day, but, I mean, you literally, but, more so than – but now his wide receivers are nothing to sneeze at.
Hey, I can move faster than most people in these things.
I'm surprised that with his record as bad as it is, it came because of his receivers because receivers are Tyreek Hill, but granted Hill was out for most of the first half of the year with that collarbone issue. Yeah. Marvin Jones, who had 4 touchdowns last week for the Lions, and Julio Jones.
He's got some elite.
He does. He has some really good talent. And if they can stay healthy, if Hill can stay healthy, his receiver's going to be fine the rest of the way.
Just get a kicker.
Yeah. Stop taking a guaranteed 0 with Gostkowski. Like that's ridiculous. There's plenty of good kickers on the wire.
Kicker. Get rid of him.
He's on IR. He's not coming back. There's plenty of good kickers on the wire. His tight now, and his tight end is Jared Cook, and Jared Cook's questionable and hurt. So that's that's a big question mark. And really, he's only averaging 4 points anyway. So his tight end is not good. The tight end is a fickle position because, there's only so many elite tight ends in the league. And his defense is the Eagles. Why? I can understand now one reason why you're 2-4-1. You had the Eagles' crappy secondary. Why?
Things that make you go,
They're only 40% owned. Here's your Eagles defense point total by week. 3, 9, 4, 7. Somehow they put up 44 in week 5. I don't know who they were playing in week 5. 5 and 5. Who the heck were they playing in week 5 to score 44 points in fantasy?
Let me look this up.
Oh, of course, the Jets.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, without Sam Darnold. Of course, because he was out with mono. That's right, of course. When they allowed 6 points, had 10 sacks, and 2 interceptions. Yeah, when you're starting quarterbacks out with mono, yeah, you're going to have a big week. But except for that one anomaly, they have been atrocious. Now I can understand why you're as bad as you are. Because aside from one week when you played a team without starting quarterback, you've been awful. Congratulations. You had one great week. And after that, toilet. Absolute toilet. And he doesn't have much receiver depth behind, again, his main receivers. Geronimo Allison is very hit or miss, averaging 4 points a week. Kiki Cutie can't stay healthy, averaging 3 points a week. So, again, this is a team that's really relying on the strength of their main guys to carry them the rest of the season. So, again, I don't think we really have to worry about –
Eagles ranked 10th on DST this week.
This week.
Against Buffalo.
Buffalo's good, though. I mean, Josh Allen with his dual threat ability and Frank Gore, the ageless wonder that is Frank Gore. Singletary's back healthy. John Brown, one of the top deep threat receivers in the NFL. I don't know how they're 10th.
Catch me.
That is crazy.
The worst is Cleveland Browns at New England.
Well, duh. I mean, that's a no duh.
Atlanta.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Atlanta at home against Seattle.
Well, yeah, Seattle's going to go to town on Atlanta, dude. Russell Wilson is going to have should have a week out of his mind.
Cincinnati versus Rams in the UK.
Yeah. For you, and I'm sure you know this. Maybe you don't, but here you don't. Right? There's a lot of stats you don't usually know.
Yeah.
Okay, in London, well, actually, anywhere outside of America, whether it's London, Nottingham, Mexico City, what have you, there has never been a game in the NFL where it's been winning team versus winning team ever. There's always been at least one losing team and one winning team where both losing records. Why do they keep getting bad football? Why do we keep sending the bad teams to London?
Let's send Packers versus Patriots.
Now I get it. Jacksonville kind of has a connection with London, a thing with London. The fact that they're so, close, but oh my gosh. I don't
sending Cleveland and Cincinnati this year.
I mean, yeah, it's just, but Cincinnati 0-7 to send them over there. I don't get it.
What are we showing these foreigners about American football?
Right.
That it sucks that bad that, okay, we don't need to watch this. We'll just play our soccer.
I mean,
make it contagious. So maybe at London will win an NFL team.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me at all. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, here's hoping it'll happen someday.
Well, do you remember what was it? I can't remember the name. NFL Europe. It sucked.
Yeah, but at least it was kind of like being somewhat of a developmental league for the NFL.
Yeah.
It was kind of playing that role as the developmental league, and
so we're sending the developmental teams over there.
And in a way, even though the Alliance didn't make it through one season, you have to admit a lot of teams then from NFL signed former Alliance players to their rosters. And now I'm hoping that next year the XFL will do the same thing and lead to that, because at least you're getting attention, you're getting noticed by how well you're playing in these
Speaking
leagues.
of that, did you see Jameis is now XFL?
No.
Yes. He is part of the DC team.
Oh, okay. Darn, I thought it was going to be a Seattle Dragon.
I was hoping so too.
Darn, because they're giving me my team, of course, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, the Dragon.
Yeah. So, they're going to be the team I support. But yeah, I hope that happens. So here's hoping. And finally, we have the East Division. This division is the weird one because you got 3 teams with a tie. There have been a couple games this season where it's ended in a tie. So you've got 3 teams like with around 500 decent records, and then one, of course, that's given up on the year. That's KHG 13. But let's talk first about one of the weirdest team names I've ever seen. BK We Spray. Yes, it's a weird name. Because it makes you wonder, what do they spray?
We spray for losses.
Well, they didn't lose. Unfortunately, they didn't lose to us. But, they've looked better in recent weeks, mainly because, like I said, Kirk Cousins. Cousins now is averaging 20 points a game. He scored 37 last week. They're probably going to go to town on Washington tomorrow night. I mean, he looks finally like a capable quarterback because the Vikings are actually finally saying, hey, we can throw the football now. We don't have to do this whole run thing all the time. No, let's try throwing it every once in a while and not be one-dimensional.
The DC Defenders. That's what they're.
Oh, yeah. The Defenders. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. So I mean, he's got a decent quarterback. His running backs are not great. His running backs have been mostly a colossal disappointment. Jamal Williams of Green Bay, he's only a compliment back to Aaron Jones. He's averaging 6 points a game. Frank Gore, while still an ageless wonder and is now the main back in Buffalo, is only averaging 7 a game. You're getting RB2 production out of these guys. Royce Freeman in Denver. Again, Denver, 7 points a game. And Joe Mixon in Cincinnati has been a colossal disappointment. You draft Joe Mixon to be a top guy, 6 points a game.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's a workhorse in Cincinnati. So that's been his backs have been a major disappointment. His wide receivers are the class of his team. Tyler Lockett in Seattle has been absolutely crushing it because Wilson's playing so strong. Julian Edelman, top option in New England. And Juju Smith-Schuster in Pittsburgh. Now, granted, without Roethlisberger there being in Pittsburgh, that kind of hurts a bit. But still, Juju's your top guy there. So he's got 3 solid wide receivers.
But they can't all go off at the same time.
That's true.
But
and he's got a decent depth one in McLaurin from Washington, who's averaging 10 a week. So that's a huge get too. His tight end is Evan Engram, healthy again for the Giants. He's averaging 7 a week. That's a great tight end. 49ers defense. Who would have thought they'd be crushing it this year? But boy, they are absolutely crushing it, averaging 17 points a week.
Jeez.
Yeah, they are absolutely killing
Where'd they
it.
get that D at?
I mean, Nick Bosa, number 1. You draft him, and he makes a major impact right away. Of course, and Richard Sherman in the secondary.
Right.
I mean, they have so much talent there now. They're just absolutely crushing it and still undefeated. I think it's just them in New England, the only 2 undefeateds left in the league. So,
Super Bowl pick in 2?
Boy, that'd be something for Garoppolo to go up against his former team. That'd be something. That would definitely be something.
Eat this, Tom Brady.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you didn't think it could be Brady's predecessor? Post-cessor, I guess is the word after the fact. But yeah, I think it could be.
This is what you get.
Legacy. Well, here you go. Yeah, that's what you get now. And then Nick Bosa slamming you into the ground and Richard Sherman picking you off. And then his kicker is Boswell from Pittsburgh. That's not bad. He's averaging 6 points a week. So his strength is mostly his wide receivers, Cousins balling out, and that defense. That's what he's going to have his strengths on. So
decent.
Yeah, and I can understand why he's a good team. I can understand why he was able to beat us the 1 week, but that week we really had a rough week because we lost. We lost Disley that week, and Gordon got hurt that week.
Yep.
So we had injuries that week, so that's why we struggled there. Restore the Roar. Yeah, 2-4 is 2-4-1.
Now restoring it too well.
You don't even have to guess who his quarterback is.
Stafford?
Yes. Yeah, Stafford's quarterback, but that's not a bad thing. Stafford has shown over the years he had 36 last week. Yeah. I mean, he's got an arm. He's still a great player. He's averaging 20. That's not a bad option. His backup is Dak. So he's got 2 solid quarterbacks, and Dak's averaging 24. So He's got two very good quarterbacks. Running backs leave a little to be desired, though they're decent options when they can break out. Matt Breida, the 49ers, is averaging 8 a week. Le'Veon Bell for the Jets is averaging 8 a week. So again, if they get decent production, they'll be okay. His receivers, though, this is where the rough patch is. Emmanuel Sanders, now he just did get traded to San Francisco. He was only averaging 7 points in Denver. I think with Garoppolo, it's going to be a big upgrade for him. So I wouldn't be surprised if that number goes up to double digits as the season goes on.
10, 11 maybe.
Yeah. DJ Moore in Carolina. Carolina is always a mystery with their receivers because you know if it's going to be Moore or Curtis Samuel or Greg Olsen or McCaffrey when he's a receiving back.
Right.
There's too many mouths to feed in Carolina. So that's the risk you take of having one because you don't know which one's going to break out.
If you knew consistently.
Now, Robbie Anderson, the only reason he was down is because, remember, Donald was out with mono for 2-3 weeks with Luke Falk at your quarterback.
Oh?
Yeah, exactly. And before that, it was
Testaverde.
No, actually, it was the kid from Northwestern. I forget his name. And then, Trevor Siemian. But then he, of course, his ankle got all messed up. Yeah, it bent in a way that does not normally go.
Hey, does he need to borrow my boot?
Yeah, right. So he was out for the year. So then they had to play Falk for a few weeks. But then Darnold is back. He's going to help out Anderson and Jamison Crowder. The Jets' schedule actually is really has some juicy matchups down the stretch. So I wouldn't be surprised if that Anderson number goes up too. So I think at least two of those three receivers will be better down the stretch. For now, not great, but they'll be better down the line. Travis Kelce's his tight end. He's got one of the best tight ends in the NFL. I mean, Kelce can give you production. His kicker is Greg the Leg from the Rams. Zerline, averaging 10 a week. So he's got the Chargers defense that only averaging 10 a week. That's
questionable.
You might, if there's a better option on the wire for the rest of the season, you might want to make an upgrade there because they're not going to be great on a weekly basis. And then his backups. Now he's got 3 receivers on his bench, and they're all listed as questionable. Sammy Watkins of Kansas City, again, when healthy, really good, but can't stay healthy. Deshaun Jackson in Philly. When he's good, great player, can't stay healthy. And Dede Westbrook in Jacksonville. Again, nice option, but not there right now. So I
would at least get rid of maybe 1, maybe 2 of them. Try to upgrade.
And if I were to pick, honestly, I would say Jackson because he's so boomer bust. Like, yes, Wentz can throw the deep ball, but not very often. Like, I think he's more of a dink and dunk guy to like Ertz and his running backs.
He plays like he did in the Valley.
Yes.
Short dink and dunk.
Yeah, he's not really a deep ball threat, kind of like Bridgewater.
Yes.
Although Bridgewater can throw deep to Michael Thomas, but he doesn't do that very often. It's not his main style of play.
He likes 10, 15 yards.
Yeah. So if I were to restore the roar, I would get rid of Jackson, find a better option, a more consistent option. Because you've got plenty of 2 of your receivers are going to be better in the long haul. Your starters are better in the long run. I think you can, cut bait on him and find something better. Keep Mark Engram. I mean, he's on a bye this week. You've got a good third back there in Engram. Keep him. So he's going to have to bank on Stafford still being consistent, the receivers getting better, Kelce producing, maybe even get a better DST. But there's potential here to be a contender, but he's going to have to really work at it. He really is going to have to make some moves. ABC. Just ABC. At least not ABCDE, ABCDE.
Right.
This guy, I was worried about to start the year because, he was getting pounded on a weekly basis, but then he started to make some big, all of a sudden, like first 3 weeks, he was 1-1-1 and really didn't do anything in terms of waivers. Then 1 week, he picks up these tons of guys off waivers. And I'm like, oh, you're actually playing the game now? Like, you're actually welcome to the league. You're actually making moves now.
Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah. So I was surprised at that. Now, really, he doesn't have a bad roster. Now, he's banking on the strength of the Cowboys and the Jaguars because his quarterback is Gardner Minshew, who has done a nice job filling in for the injured Nick Foles. Let's not kid ourselves. Minshew's been very good. He's averaging 18 points a week. That's a solid. Now, granted, that's his only quarterback, so I worry when the Jaguars have their bye what he's going to do in that regard. But we'll see what happens there. He'll probably drop one of his backs because he has 4 running backs on his bench. 4.
Call back running back whore.
And one is on IR, Darius Geis, who's not going to play. Get rid of Darius Geis.
Yeah.
He's taking up a spot on your bench. Stop. He's not coming back. Get rid of Darius Geis. Now, and Chase Edmunds. Now, Edmunds should be in your starting lineup because, well, although that's kind of hard because you have Leonard Fournette and Ezekiel Elliott, although Elliott's on a bye this week, so you won't have Zeke this week. So I think this week, if you're smart, if you're actually playing the game, you put in Chase Edmunds because he's been killing it in Arizona. And David Johnson probably isn't going to play. So he had 32 fantasy points last week.
Here, wake up, smell the coffee.
Right? Malcolm Brown, he's done nothing with the Rams. He's averaging 4 points a week.
What does AB stand for? All black coffee?
Wow. His team not brought to you by Folgers.
Nope. Or Maxwell House.
Or Starbucks.
Or Dunkin' Donuts. Get your Dunkin' today.
Yeah, right. Well, he's dunking on not having enough depth anywhere else. He's dunking in depth is what he is. And Peyton Barber in Tampa Bay has been mostly a disappointment, 6 points a week. So your backs having that many backs in the roster, especially some that aren't going to do anything for you, is ridiculous.
You just
get yourself another quarterback because Minshew is not a QB1. Get yourself another quarterback. Get rid of Darius Geis. Get rid of Malcolm Brown. He's not going to do anything for you.
Here we go. Boom.
I'm
the team up.
I mean, yeah, you've got if you're going to be competitive at all, you've got to do something about this roster. Corey Davis is a bench guy. Okay, but he's questionable, but he's averaging 6 a week as a receiver. Okay, that's okay. Now his receiving core is strong, but Will Fuller just hurt his hamstring again.
Yeah.
When he's healthy for the Texans, he's outstanding. He cannot stay healthy to save his life. And the hamstring has always been a bugaboo. So now you're down a receiver, Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper. You have 2 Cowboys. Oh, wait, they're on bye this week. So really, when you think about it, this guy has no receivers this week. None.
Does he have a kicker at least?
He has Fairbairn, and Fairbairn's one of the better kickers. So at least he has one of the better kickers. But right now, you have no receivers, dude, and you're down a running back. And
you see a better choice.
Unless you put Edmunds in there. I mean, long term, it might be a decent roster. But this week, this guy is screwed unless he makes some moves. So, I mean, I get it. You're relying on the strength of your running backs and your Dallas receiving core and maybe Fairbairn. And he has the Titans defense. They've been kind of a question mark. But, yeah, this is a questionable roster. You got to make some moves, dude, if you want to be competitive. Now, here's the guy that is given up completely on the fantasy season. KHD13, 0-7. Jason H.
No pun intended here.
What is that, preparation H?
Like
for your
fart back.
For your hemorrhoids of a season? His quarterback is Cam Newton, who hasn't played in weeks. Okay. His backup quarterback is Mitchell Trubisky. Now, remember when we played him, Trubisky was also hurt. So he had no quarterback at all when he played us. So he's not going to.
You're playing the hospital league. Are you playing hospital fantasy football?
I mean, your running backs. Melvin Gordon is averaging 2 points a week.
Woo-hoo.
James Conner is averaging 10, but he's questionable this week. So there's no guarantee he'll play. Wide receivers, Alshon Jeffrey, he's averaging 7 points. Again, decent, but nothing special. Now, he's banking on his Rams receivers, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods. Again, when the Rams are good, they're really good. So those are your 2 positives. Like you have 2 Rams receivers, and you have Mark Andrews from Baltimore. But, oh, by the way, he's on bye this week. So that means if you would make a move, if you would bother to set your lineup every single week, you'd slot in Greg Olsen. But this guy doesn't. Your kicker's Vinatieri. He's been kind of rough this year. He's only averaging 5 points a week.
Speaking of Vinatieri, his cousin did it Parky.
Yeah.
Last week. Doink. From 28 yards out.
And the Jaguars defense. Now, that's not bad because they are playing the Jets this week, and the Jets are pretty bad. But they're averaging 10 a week. But they don't have Jalen Ramsey anymore, which is kind of a worry. So you have a couple positives. I mean, and Austin Eckler is on your bench, and he's averaging 15. He's actually scoring more than Melvin Gordon.
Scoring more than his whole starting crew.
Yeah, exactly. Kenyon Drake is going to get traded. Get rid of Kenyon Drake. He's going to be out of there. He's going to maybe be in a different team. I hold on to him for being on a different team, but he's not going to thrive in Miami. And he has a backup defense in the Chiefs. Again, unless for the bye week coming up, why carry two defenses? So this guy is clearly.
What's he averaging a week total wise?
What, point wise? Yeah. Oh gosh,
20.
He scored 404 points in 7 weeks. Wow. I'm not sure why Sarah's calling me. So let's do some math. 404 points in 7 weeks. That's 58 points a week.
Yeah, you can't win any games that way.
No, that is absolutely terrible. So yeah,
he gave up.
Yeah, he's pretty much given up on the season. So
I could understand if you were like maybe won a couple games and just started losing, and okay, then.
So let's look at what we've got going into this week. Let's look at what we've got. We are projected for 110 points this week. We have been crushing it with our guys like on a weekly basis. We've only been a few weeks where we've not scored over 100, like or close to it. Like, with our quarterbacks with Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson. I mean, you think about it, losing Breeze for us was kind of like a blessing in disguise because it enabled us to get Wilson.
Right.
And who's been absolutely crushing it. And,
same way with Lamar.
And we had Lamar from the start, but Lamar, when he's been good, he's been really good. Like, because
especially when Lamar and Russell faced off, it was like, who to choose?
And we went with Wilson because he was at home, and it was actually very close. Like, I think Wilson had 15 and Jackson had 22, but that's because Jackson had the rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
But which he's very capable of doing. But, Wilson is averaging 28, Jackson's averaging 27. Like, they're nearly mirroring each other. So it's just – and they're dual threat ability.
Yeah.
So we lucked out really getting two good quarterbacks.
We just look at the matchup on that one.
Yeah, exactly. And now, granted, this week it's obvious because Jackson's on bye, so we got to start Russ, but he's getting the Falcons. Hello. That's a gift matchup. Yeah, Russell's going to eat. Running backs, Aaron Jones.
Who would have thunk he would have?
Aaron Jones got free, man. Like, Aaron Jones has been so frustrating, the past couple years because he's been in that timeshare with Jamal Williams. And they like Jamal Williams in Green Bay. They do, being a dual threat receiving back. But he's not a workhorse. Jones should be the workhorse guy. And finally, I think Matt LaFleur is giving that opportunity. And they're using Jones as a receiver. Do you remember he had a receiving touchdown last week from 30-some yards out? So I love –
he can do it.
I love seeing that. And of course, when Williams was not healthy with the concussion, he balled out and had 41 points with a 4-touchdown game. So now he hadn't had a rushing touchdown since then, but the fact that he is balling out at this level is very impressive. 15 points average a week. We've got to love it. Now, we are going to start Ty Johnson this week for Detroit because he's now the workhorse going forward because Kerryon Johnson is on IR. He's done with the knee injury again. And it's been unfortunate because Kerryon has done so well ever since he came into the league, but he's been so banged up. He's been injury prone every single year. Oh, gosh. So Ty's going to take the workload. Now, there is still the possibility with the trade deadline coming up that they might make a move for someone else, but for now I think they're going to ride it out because do notice they didn't re-sign Zach Zenner. Right. Zenner went to Arizona with Alfred Morris because they think David Johnson's going to be out for a while. So Ty Johnson's going to be our guy. He's got a great matchup against the Giants this week. Detroit's got some good matchups going forward the next couple weeks. Because with us, the question mark is still Kamara with the ankle and the knee issue. He didn't play last week. There have been rumblings that he, might this week with the whole, but and those rumblings of Breeze might also come back. But I think the smart thing is to rest him. With the bye coming up in week 9, I think the smart thing is to rest him. Now, CBS has him projected for 11 points, but he's still listed as questionable. So I don't know. I'm really, really leery. I think for now we should treat it like Kamara's not going to play, at least until we see what his practice status is this week. So for now, I think we put in Johnson as our 2 because even though Carlos Hyde has been good at times this year and he's got a decent matchup against Oakland, I worry after his 3 points last week because the Colts really kept him in check. So, I mean, he's averaging 9 points a week, and that's done well. But I want a workhorse back, a true, main guy. Yeah, he hasn't been ruled out for week 8 yet. So there's definitely some doubt. So there's still a lot of question marks. Like I said, I have not seen a report yet on his practice for today. So there's still a lot of mystery. There's still a lot of mystery with Kamara. So for now, I think we'll have Johnson in there until we hear more on Kamara. So if Kamara starts, then obviously then he starts for us. But for now, we'll keep Johnson there.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to be hurt.
Yeah. Wide receivers. These guys have been our strength all year. I genuinely think we have 3 top 20 receivers this season. Michael Thomas again, getting him back on draft night was just massive.
That was impressive.
And he has been so impressive. Even without Breeze, he's still getting targets. But you knew that because he's their, he can't guard Mike. He's their go-to guy.
He's number 1 down there.
He had 13 last week. He's averaging 13 on the season. He gets even when he doesn't score a touchdown, he's still a wide receiver 1. And he's still a great asset. So absolutely incredible. And Arizona this week, their secondary is nothing special. I mean, yeah, Patrick Peterson is back, but
whoop-de-doo.
He's not in his prime. So he's gonna get his. He'll be fine. Getting Mike Evans, I am still stunned that we were able to land him in our lap again. That the Cowboys 19, when I saw him drop him, I'm like, are you a bucking fantasy idiot? Like it stunned the heck of me. I texted you and Nate right away. I said, oh my gosh, someone just dropped Mike Evans.
Grab him.
Yeah, like I could not believe who in their right mind drops the top receiving option in Tampa Bay. Now, I get it. Chris Godwin has come up and done well as a solid second option as well. But it's still Mike Evans. Yeah. I mean, yeah, every week when Jameis is bad, he might have a bad week or two. Okay, whatever. I mean, yeah, and
Mike Evans still has a good
and he had the one goose egg. But for the most of the time, that's not what's going to happen most of the time. He's going to get double-digit points most of the time or close to it. He's averaging 10 a week. It's Mike freaking Evans. He goes up and gets the ball, people. And then Allen Robinson, we got him off waivers from Chicago, and he has been
going on
the top option. Yeah, even everyone being so critical of Trubisky. Oh, Trubisky sucks. The Bears need to change quarterbacks. Allen Robinson had 2 touchdowns 2 weeks ago. I mean, yeah, I get it. The Bears' offense isn't great, but Allen Robinson's still making plays. And he's averaging 9 a week. Like, our receiving core is one of the best in the league. And then our bench, DK Metcalf from Seattle, a rookie who's the number 2 behind Tyler Lockett and is averaging 6 a week, a very solid depth option there. And then I got AJ Green because once he comes back healthy after the bye, he's going to be, as long as he stays in Cincinnati. If he stays in Cincinnati, he's going to be the top option, period. We know this. What happens if he gets traded at the deadline? What if he ends up with a better team? Oh, hell yeah. He's going to be targeted too because they know the level of AJ Green's talent. Like, when he is healthy, they know that AJ Green goes up and gets it. So I grabbed him for us as a lottery ticket because,
Scratch. We might have a big winner.
Yeah, keep strengthening it. And then really, I think, tight end, kicker, defense-wise, we're set for the rest of the season because these guys have been so good. Of course, Darren Waller.
Oh, my God, going off.
Darren Waller. The only reason I even considered Darren Waller early on is because Dave Richard from CBS Sports, one of the fantasy analysts, he was so high on Darren Waller, even put in his Twitter handle, get Waller in round 9. Like, he was so high on Darren Waller. I'm like, who is this guy? He's like a 6'6", 250 tight end. And I'm like, damn. Like, and this guy's a rookie. Like, but they had no competition at tight end. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to get his share of targets. So I pick him up, and all of a sudden he's outscoring Will Dissly on a weekly basis, even when we got Dissly. And then Dissly goes down for the year with an Achilles injury, and Darren Waller's our number 1, and he scores 24 points in his first 2 touchdowns in the season and should have had a third were it not for a holding call. I mean, when did I pick up Waller?
Week 4.
It was early on. Yeah, it was definitely early on when I got Waller. Because you're still starting Dissly for a while.
What is that one? Is this one? Yeah, this is money.
When I was choosing, I was debating between Waller and Disley that one week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said Disley.
And you said Disley, and I think we did go with Disley that week, and it was very close between the two because Waller didn't really have a touchdown until last week.
That's the only reason I said Disley.
But he then goes off last week. He is at this point, he's essentially matchup proof. Like he's just so solid. Getting the Bills defense, that was massive. I mean, we were bouncing around defenses for a time, but I think for a while we had we alternated between the Rams and some other teams, but then we found the Bills on waivers and they've been crushing it, 11 points a week. And then I mentioned the kicker situation. We've had to bounce around kickers a bit. Better matchups, better long-term outlooks. But Lambeau, who's perfect on the year, you can't turn an opportunity down to get a perfect kicker.
No.
So I think going forward, we've set ourselves up really, really well. Again, as long as injuries don't become a bugaboo, I think we're going to be in a really, really good spot. That's why this week is so critical to win this week because the fact that we're game out the wild card and we're playing the team that's in the wild card spot.
Knock them out of it.
Exactly. That's why a win is so critical.
And hopefully we get the other team lost.
So let's take a look back through the season so far. Just kind of a weekly basis. Week 1, this
no biter.
Yeah, this one we played Psychos, and considering what Psychos is now at 6-1, we nearly pulled off one of the wildest comebacks. We were down. I'm trying to think. We were down 93 to 40, 50 something going into the Monday night game against the Texans, and we had Breeze, Kamara, and Thomas, and let's see, 24-40. They combined for 52. And we needed 55. So, we were down 55. We were down 93 to 38 going into Monday night. And I'm thinking, oh, geez, that's an uphill climb. But we have 3 Saints. And I'm watching that game, and I'm thinking, oh, keep going. The points keeps going up and up and up. I think they're going to do it. And they just fall 2 points short. And it was so tough. And that week, we had a donut. Dante Pettis, looking back, was a disappointment because he did nothing for the 49ers. Diggs only having 3 points.
That's when Lamar went off with 42.
Yeah, Lamar had the 42, but again, you didn't know Miami was in tank mode yet. You didn't know if they were actually going to be or not yet. So
93 to 39.
Yeah, 93-39. We were down by, that's right, 54, 55. So, and then they almost did it. And I thought, and then back then we had Delaney Walker as our tight end. He went off for 17. So even before Waller was our backup at this point in week 1. Waller was our backup guy with 7. So we actually had Waller from the start. But, and we had the Rams defense who had 11. So
Gallup went off with 15.
Yeah. Gallup had 15. Yeah. So and Gallup then Gallup got hurt with the knee, so I didn't want to hold on to him for too long because I didn't know what the status of his knee was. So I dropped him later on. So
Diggs only having 3. That killed.
Diggs not doing much early on, hurt, and I worried about him after 3 weeks because usually after 3 weeks you get an idea of what a player's going to do. You think, and then all of a sudden we drop him, and it's like, oh, now the Vikings can throw the football. Ugh. Stupid. And then Aaron Jones only having 3, that hurt that week too. So, but of course Brady went off that week for 31. McCaffrey went off for 32. Thielen had a touchdown. So, I mean, his top 2 guys showed up. So that one could have been a lot worse, but man, we gave that a fight for sure. That was a battle that we nearly pulled out. It's disappointing we didn't, but that was something. Then week 2, we got the win over Cowboys 19, beat them 82-63. I mean, this was where Lamar carried us, 34 points against the Cardinals. I mean, that was incredible. And that's the week that Breeze got hurt because he ended up with -1. And then I benched Aaron Jones that week because I didn't think he would, after his bad week 1, I switched Duke Johnson for him instead. That turned out to be a whoop-de-doo. Thankfully, it didn't come out to bite us, but
it still could have very well.
Yeah, because Kamara only had 5 against the Rams. Johnson only had 3. Thomas had 8. Gordon did nothing, and I'm done with Josh Gordon. I'm glad he's on some other team because now he's your headache now instead of ours. Because he was terrible any week we started him. He only had 1 point. Brown had 7. Walker only had 3. Then Walker started to fade a bit. We had Fairbairn that week, and he had 7. We had the Texans defense that week. They did good for us that week with 14. But then Diggs had 8. Gallup had 6. Waller had 6. So I was starting to see Waller doing actually better than Walker. I'm thinking, okay, we can start Waller going forward. So we were fortunate that really he didn't have much of a challenge to us because, Rodgers had 18 against us. Gurley had 12, and then everyone else single digits. So including Deshaun Jackson with a big old goose egg. And that's when he had Evans, and Evans had 6. And then he's like, oh, well, I'm done with him. Thank you. Thank you for the gift there, Cowboys 19.
I was going to wait till you got on week 3 on that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But so yeah, that was a good win. That was it could have been a lot better. The 82 points could add some more, but it was decent. Now, week 3, when we kicked absolute ass against the Stanimals.
When they were 105 points a week.
Yeah. 135-83. That was the week we got Evans, and OMG. 37 points after the week after Cowboys 19.
As you said, wide receiver Mike Evans, Tampa Bay, 37 points. Thanks again, Cowboy 19, for being an utter idiot and handing them to us.
Yeah, just absolutely insane. He went off. Kamara went off for 27. Jones with 13. The Rams defense with 13. Jackson goes off for 20. Thomas 11. 6 of our 9 in double figures.
And if we would have went with Wilson, oh my God, you would have been just annihilation.
Yeah, because Wilson had the 45 that game against the Saints. Yeah, so yeah, and then again, Waller outscored Walker 13-6. So then I thought again, maybe Waller's the better option going forward. And then Diggs on the bench with 1, and I'm thinking, okay, he's not going to do anything because Minnesota clearly is a run-focused team. So that's when I scrapped Diggs, thinking they were not going to do it. Well, now you see what happens as a result of that. But we got better players. We got better receivers.
If you think about it, we could have kicked their butt 160-83. Just that one little.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but again, that's the thing. That's the trouble about having 2 good quarterbacks. It's so hard to determine who to start on a weekly basis and that's happened throughout the whole course of the season. If you'll notice, every time we start one, the bench guy does better. Have you noticed? You noticed that?
Yeah, I noticed that.
It's weird, but the good thing is the starter still does well enough. We don't have to worry about it. So it hasn't really bit us too much, except for a couple weeks, but really hasn't bit us too much. But yeah, that week was that was a special week. And again, we were fortunate that with him, he had only 3 in double figures. Beckham did nothing against the Rams. Godwin got held in check against the Giants when Evans went off. Brait had a donut. The Bucs defense didn't do much of anything. Lutz only had 3 against the Seahawks in a high-scoring game. That's surprising. So, yeah, we were fortunate in regard too, but to put up all those points was huge. Week 4, the tough loss to All Balls. This one hurt. The potential was there. And again, it had Jackson started because we started. My mindset this week was we start Wilson over Jackson because it's the Cardinals. And I would think that Wilson would go off on the Cardinals, but they flipped the script and they used the run instead and with Carson to beat him. That was disappointing. And
he wanted to clearly beat us because he made a ton of changes too.
Yeah, he did. And we were favored by 9 going into that week. So
and then he ended up being a 1-point favorite.
Yeah, that's true. Because he made some moves, and then, we did have 4 in double figures. Wilson with 15, Evans with 14, again in a good week. Jones with 11. The Rams defense had 10. Even in a high-scoring game with Tampa Bay in that shootout, they still had 10 points. Thomas 9, Kamara 8, Robinson 7. There's still plenty of points to be had, but his top 4 showed up. Rivers had 24 against the Dolphins, was to be expected. It's the Dolphins. Adams had 18 for Green Bay. Again, when healthy, Devontae Adams, one of the best receivers in football. Austin Hooper, 13 for Atlanta's tight end, is one of the better in the game. And then Dalvin Cook, who's killing it right now. So his top guys showed up. And then that was a week where Disley outscored Waller in one of those rare occasions. Why I think I switched them with Disley going forward, because it was hard to pick at that point between those two as well.
It's still hard to pick.
Now with Disley out, it won't matter as much because now Waller's our guy. But yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow. I really thought we could get to 3-1 with that, but All Balls is a decent team when he's got his players going off. Then week 5.
Oh, geez.
I didn't think that the point total from the 1 week could be topped. Oh, how wrong I was. I think, and I don't know because I've been playing this game for 14 years and my mind sometimes forgets, but this is one of, if not the biggest blowout in franchise history. 95 points over KHD. 142-47.
Well, when you have 2 no quarterbacks.
Yeah, you had no quarterback. And your highest scoring player is your kicker. Your kicker.
You have problems.
Yeah. Vinatieri, 13. Then Connor, 11. Jeffrey, 5. Cooks, 4. Woods, 4. Andrews, 4. Jags defense, 3. Gordon, 3. And, of course, Newton, goose egg. That's your 47 points. And our guys, I mean, aside from Evans' unfortunate goose egg against the Saints, no, he wasn't hurt. He actually played. He was just very well covered by Marshawn Lattimore.
We didn't need him anyways.
No, 6 in double figures. Jones going OFF off for 41 with the 4 touchdowns. Thomas with 30. Robinson with 21 in his first game for us. Jackson with 13. The Bills' defense in their first game for us with 13. Kamara had 10. Disley had 8 and Marr had 6. I mean, yeah, it was just a complete team effort all around. And again, Wilson in that week easily outscored Jackson 37-13. So again, it could have been much, much worse, but everyone else showed up. So just unbelievable. That was a gimme. That was an absolute gimme of a win. Then, unfortunately, week 6, this was the toughest one yet because this was our worst scoring output of the season. The 78 points against BK Weespray, losing 123-78.
They must break point totals down.
We were projected for 116 or 117 if you round up. But yeah, this was tough because we lost Disley for the year with the Achilles injury. Gordon got hurt again
with the knee,
and then the donut. Yeah, with his donut. Jones went back down to earth only with 3 points against the Lions. Kamara struggled with his knee and ankle issue, only had 6. Thomas only had 8. I mean, aside from Jackson with 30, Evans with 11, and Washington's D with 15 against Miami, it was just a rough week, and his guys showed up. Ryan had 38 alone against Arizona. The Broncos' defense against Tennessee surprisingly had 29. That was a shock to me. McLaurin had 22. Tucker had 11, his kicker. Edelman had 11. I mean, his guys showed up. So
BK Weespray for injuries.
Yeah, it was.
Your team's going to get injured.
And see, with that quarterback, that wouldn't have mattered. Wilson had 32, Jackson had 30. They were pretty similar that week, so really that wouldn't have mattered. Now, I wouldn't have think to start at Carlos Hyde over Jones or Kamara, and Hyde went off for 16.
But it really wouldn't.
It really wouldn't have mattered. So yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow. Week. That was a rough week. But then last week, bounced back in a big way. Take care of business. Beat the Cheeseheads 112-45. I mean, and
just keep having them up there.
Yeah. We need to be more consistent in the winning category, obviously. But and actually,
point total wise.
Well, yeah, point total wise, yeah. And the projection came pretty close. Actually, they had us for 111. We hit 112. So that's
what were they projected at?
93, and they ended up with 45. I mean, yeah, that's
what were they projecting on?
Well, that you can't factor, of course, Mahomes getting hurt because originally Mahomes was projected for 25. Okay, so he ended up with 9. Johnson was projected for 8, had 2 because then he got hurt. Montgomery was projected for 8, -1. Sutton for 11, had 8. Ridley projected for 7, had 3. Boyd projected for 8, had 3. Ertz projected for 8, 3. Prater projected for 7, 6. That's pretty close. And then Saints defense 12. So that hit the number. So
he only had one number.
Right. Yes. And you can factor in Mahomes and Johnson getting hurt. So, and Montgomery, the -1. Like when you have a negative in fantasy, you've got to fix your roster. And benching Latavius Murray, that's the most egregious of all that. You bench a starting running back. You're guaranteeing yourself an L. If you bench a Saints starting running back. But yeah, and our guys, again, 6 in double figures, led by Waller's 24. We went up 3 spots in the power ranking as a result of that win. We're up to number 2 now, behind Psychos. So, yeah, we're even ahead of all balls, if you can believe that. That shows how strong our team is. Waller, 24. Wilson with 15. Jackson at 22, as I mentioned. Jones, 14, bounced back in a big way. Robinson, 14. Thomas, 13. The Bills' defense had 13. Golden Tate had 8. Gonzalez, with the win for Arizona, had 9. And then Singletary was the only sour note with 2.
We'll give one person a sour note.
Yeah.
But just don't make it a repeat.
Well, he's getting out-touched by Frank Gore. That worries me, that a rookie is getting out-touched by Frank Gore.
How old is Frank Gore?
Old. He's old. He's an ageless wonder, but he's old.
He's becoming a bore, but I guess he's getting things done, though.
He's Gore the Boar.
Gore the Gore.
That was too easy. That was too easy of a pun.
Yeah, Gore the Boar.
So the long and short of it is this. Like, I think we have really, you know me, like when I'm making moves for the team, when I post it to the group and when I talk to you guys about it, I'm not only thinking, like, mostly I'm thinking long-term because you want to see what's going to work out with the schedule in the long-term with the playoff push. But sometimes you got to take short-term into account as well. And that's what I'm looking at Fantasy Pros and the cheat sheets and the waiver options. Who do we think is going to strengthen the team? I think we have set ourselves up really well.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't even make any moves unless injury happens.
Unless injury or poor production happens, we don't really need to make too much
tweaking
in the way of tweaking. No, I think we've set ourselves up really, really well. It remains to be seen, what happens with AJ Green,
Kamara,
and Kamara, and Kamara. But this week with his practice, Green I think is the biggest mystery because again, is he going to be in Cincinnati after the trade deadline?
We'll wait till that time.
Yeah, and depending on where he ends up is going to determine his value for the rest of the season. That's why I got him now for a lottery ticket. See what happens with him.
We're just waiting to scratch that off.
Exactly, but I think this week, considering how well we're projected for point wise, we're a 20-point favorite over the team that currently holds the wild card. Now, depending on if he makes moves,
we don't know if he'll make a move or not. But.
Yeah, right. Because right now he has no defense. His Cowboys are his defense, and he has no backup defense. So we'll see if he does. So it remains to be seen. At the moment, we're 20-point favorites. That could change as the week goes on. But at least on paper, I think we're in a really good spot. Fantasy Pros still has us as the number 1 team in the league, like rest of the season, like number 1.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think we are in a really good spot to make a push for the title. I think this is roster-wise, this is
the best talent
in a long time. Like it's up there with the Nightcrawlers the Nightcrawlers hadn't won the title. The Nighthawks from last year. The Dragon Wings team that was runner-up the year before the Nightcrawlers, compared to those teams, it's in that same vein. Like from roster top to bottom, bench, starters, it's in that same vein.
Working together.
Yeah, it flows very well together, and I think we are in a really good spot going forward. So I'm looking forward to see what the rest of the season is going to bring. I hope we're going to be in the thick of it. I mean, realistically, would winning the division be nice? Yes, obviously to have a top seed and not have to fight for the wild card, but man, Psychos is just really good. Like
I don't see them faltering.
I don't really see them faltering. Really, unless we're like still really close and we find a way to knock him off in the second meeting. Like I think that's the only way we're gonna have a shot at it for sure. But I don't see that. I think realistically for us, it's going to be getting the wild card, probably having to face either Psychos or all balls in the semifinal of the playoffs. If we face Psychos, here's hoping that his Patriots players have already locked everything and arrested. I worry about going up against McCaffrey again, obviously, but
that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, but if we play all balls, I'm not too worried because we gave all balls a battle. So I think we'd be if we make the wild card. I think we're one scary ass wild card. If you ask me,
we're like what was that team? The Giants who beat the Patriots as the 6th.
Right? Yeah. So
we're the Giants. We're coming Patriots.
There is potential for the rest of the season for sure. I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen the rest of the way. So I think we've covered the gamut. I think pretty much. I think we've talked about every team. We've talked about the league. We've talked about what's to come, what we have to do to get there. I think that pretty much Will covers it. So we'll go ahead and
know your stud, know your dud.
That's right, and move forward and see what happens from here on out. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up, put a bow on this one, and right. And so we will see. At least I will see you all next Monday, the 28th of October, for ATSD episode 38. That will be the next stream, and then from there, who knows? I mean, there are certain things, of course, I've talked about doing that I want to do. Some things I nixed some things because I didn't think it would fit in very well. So again, I'm more off the cuff than anything. But we'll see.
Off the cuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So we'll see what happens for the future. But ATSD will, of course, still be around for sure. That will not be going away anytime soon. That'll be, again, mostly very, very pony-centered with my top MLP episodes, worst MLP FIM episodes, pony soapbox, a lot of different pony content. So stay tuned for that on Monday. So for Matt the Banshee Kuhn, I'm Spiky Dash. Signing off. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your day and week.